Hello and welcome to today's video. We're going to review the Sunny SF B1805 and a Schwinn IC4. I'm going to go over the various features of the bikes and which bike I like better for different features, as well as which one might be better for you if you're thinking about buying one. Let's get started. So we're going to start this video off talking about different categories for each of the bikes and which bike I like better for each category. And we're going to kick it off with looks. Considering this is something that's going to be in your house, you might care about what it looks like. And while each bike is largely the same, uses the same color schemes and has a lot of the same features, they do have differences. Now the Sunny has more of a box metal, giving it a little bit more of an angular look and a flat color scheme. While the Schwinn went away from that boxy look and used more of a rounded metal, as well as more vibrant colors and not such a flat color scheme. They also colored the flywheel, helping it match the bike's color scheme and just helping it stand out, as well as giving it a really sharp seat and accessories that stand out with their color scheme. They also put a little more effort into the knobs on the bike, which again just helps it stand out more. While both bikes are sharp, I'll easily give the check to the IC4, as I think it is the much sharper looking bike. When it comes to the overall quality and layout of the bikes, they are extremely close. They both have the same welded frames, the same crossbars at the bottom that connect with some bolts, and are just built so identical that from a sturdiness standpoint or quality of build, I cannot detect any differences. I truly think they're almost identical, and if you're worried about quality as far as one lasting or longer as far as structure goes, I don't think you have anything to worry about because they both are very solid. When it comes to the handlebars, they're extremely close as well. They both have that quality coating that lets you grip well but know it's well built. The layout is largely the same. If you're following along with something like the Peloton Digital App, you're able to put your hands in different positions that the instructors may ask for, so they both allow for that, so you have no worries. Differences include the IC4 having flanges at the top, so if you want to be able to put your hands completely around, this might be the better option. But the IC4, if you want to be able to kind of have those tabs that stick out and put your hands on it and have more of a flat hold instead of a rounded hold, so that's a personal preference. The largest difference is the device holder. On the IC4, it has hooks at the bottom that your device has to slide into, where the Sunny has a ledge that sticks out and your device lays against it. Both of these have their advantages and disadvantages. The IC4 might be a little bit more secure, that it actually has the hooks, but if your device doesn't fit in there because of a case or it's just too large, then it has to sit on top or you have to remove that case every time, which can be quite annoying. While the Sunny doesn't have hooks to secure it, it stays right in place, and whatever device you have, you just sit down, it's good to go, so I kind of like that part better. And last, as far as size or who these bikes support, I'm 6'3", and I felt largely the same on either bike. They both fit me perfect. I didn't have any concerns with my knees hitting anything or just not fitting right in the bike. Both these bikes are going to be able to accommodate most people, so I don't think you're going to have concern unless you're extremely short or tall. Then you might want to contact the manufacturer. For this category, I'll give the check to the Sunny, only because I like the tablet holder a little bit better because it's easy to put any model right on there. But all in all, they are almost identical. Moving on to bike feel and how stable the bike feels, how good the resistance feels. Well, as far as stability goes, both bikes have stabilizers that work great, so you're able to get it structured to your floor and make sure it matches really well, so they both ride really stable. I've leaned on both, tried to actually make them wobble, tried to make them feel like they're not so sturdy, and they both are locked in and they feel great. And I'm a big guy, so most people are going to fit just fine and feel stable as can be, so that's not an issue. I will say that the IC4 is a little bit noisier. Now when I say noisier, I just mean it makes a little bit of noise. It's almost nothing, it's nothing to be concerned about, and it wouldn't persuade me from buying the bike. But the Sunny is silent, so you do have that to consider where one's going to be completely quiet, the other's going to make a little bit of noise. And for resistance, while they're very comparable, the Sunny is able to have a little bit more resistance. And it's also a little bit smoother while having those resistances. This is probably in large part because it has a larger flywheel at 44 pounds versus the 40 of the IC4. Again, very comparable, those aren't huge differences. But overall, I just feel like the Sunny is just a little bit better because the difference is small. So while this one is better, and I'm gonna make sure I point that out, it's not such a difference that I'd be like, oh, that's the option, you have to get that one. It's just one of the factors to consider when buying. But all in all, I will give the slight check to the Sunny just because I do think the resistance is a little bit better than the IC4. While all categories have been extremely close so far, this category is the one that has a huge discrepancy. And that's with the IC4 winning features. When you make your purchase of the IC4, it includes a Cadence Sensor, a heart rate monitor, weights, a resistance display, and dual link pedals. And to be perfectly honest, the Sunny has none of those out of the box. Now to be fully transparent, if it were me and I was sticking with the IC4 or the Sunny, I would get a Scosche heart rate monitor anyways because I love them and I think they work so well. So that one isn't a huge deal for me right there. And on top of that, the Sunny, you can add on a lot of these features. You can get a Cadence Sensor. You can get the Scosche heart rate monitor. You can get the weights, and you could change out the pedals to be dual link pedals. So you can make the Sunny almost match the IC4, but there's two major things you have to consider. One is that those are all additional purchases you have to make and changes you have to make where the IC4 comes that way. And two, you can't add a resistance display to the Sunny. So if the resistance display is something that you're really set on, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, that could be a major factor towards swinging you towards the IC4. So I'm sure I don't even need to say this, but obviously the IC4 kills this category. Our last category before heading into what I recommend is price. Now I've seen the Sunny anywhere from $530 to $540 to low $600s. It seems to range a lot on Amazon. The IC4, every time I've checked, has been right at $800. Now I have heard that they do sometime run deals, think Black Friday, where the price does come down. I haven't personally seen that yet, but I have heard that happens. So from a strict price comparison standpoint and what you pay up front, obviously the Sunny wins. But if you want to add on some of those other features that the IC4 has, like a cadence monitor is going to be $40. A heart rate monitor, if you go with like a Scosche, is $70 to $80. The weights will be roughly $13 to $14. And while I don't think most would need to get this right out of the gate, if you wanted to get the dual link pedals, I think they're usually like $30 to $50 depending on what model you go with. But if you add all those up, suddenly that price gap isn't so large. Depending on the price of the Sunny when you purchase it, and if you decide to get most of those add-ons, you could be looking at $700. So while the Sunny still saves you $100, it's not such a big price gap. But one of the luxuries is that you can choose to add on those features as you need them, so you can get in at a lower price point and add some of those things on over time as your budget allows, which is nice. On top of that, it can add a little excitement to your bike because you know you get to add something that enhances the experience from time to time when maybe you're getting bored. So I'll give the win to Sunny on this category because it's going to be cheaper no matter how you go. If you just buy the bike for the bike, or even if you decide to add on all those things, it's still cheaper. But I'm also not going to downplay how nice it is to buy one thing, have everything there, you assemble it, and you're on your way doing what you need to do with some other features you can't get on the Sunny. So keep that in mind when you make your decision. What you're really probably waiting for. Which bike do I recommend for you? Well, I don't believe there is one simple answer. There is no one bike fits everybody. It depends on your situation. So I'm going to bring up a few situations and tell you what bike I recommend for that situation. And this largely depends on if you're going to use the Peloton Digital App or not. And if you're not familiar with it, it's the same app from the Peloton bikes, but you're able to put it on a tablet or a phone and put it on your screen. That's why these bikes have a tablet holder to put that device there. But right out of the gate, if you know you don't want to use any of those apps, Peloton Digital or any of the other ones available, you just want to put a bike in your house and get good exercise through your own methods, which bike do I recommend? It's going to be the Sunny. Now the IC4 is a great bike, but a lot of the features that make the price go up are based on those apps that you can connect to. And you're not going to need that. And on top of that, from a ride experience, just what bike is better? What bike do I like being on better? Just from a bike perspective, the Sunny wins by this much. They are so comparable, it is ridiculous. So I don't want anybody to think that I am slamming the IC4. They are so close. If you go with one route or the other for your own reasons, you're not going to feel like you missed out on anything. But from a ride perspective, I do think the Sunny wins by a slight margin. So if you're just here for the bike itself, I'm going to recommend that. Now, two categories left, and this is largely going to come down to money. First, let's say you're in the situation where you want a bike and you know you plan to pair it with a Peloton Digital App, but you just don't have $800 to buy the IC4. Would I still recommend the Sunny? Absolutely. I've already said I like the Sunny a little bit better as a bike anyway, so you have that working in your favor. And yes, while you are going to be missing a bunch of the features that the IC4 has, and that's unfortunate, you can still make this work. You can put the Peloton Digital App on your device, put it up there, and right away, they're going to be giving you instructions. You can still follow those instructions. You can increase your speed. You can slow down. You can see what you're doing. You know if you're riding faster or not. You can increase the resistance or not. You can still follow along exactly like other people do that have some of those bells and whistles. And as time goes on, you can add those features to it. The Cadence Sensor, which is probably the biggest one, is only $40. And you strap it on the pedal and you'll know how fast it reports it right on the Peloton Digital App. From there, if you want to get weights, they're not that expensive. A heart rate monitor, you can get cheap ones. The Scosche that I recommend is $80. Point is if your budget limits you to the Sunny, don't feel like you either need to go IC4 or nothing. This can still work for you and it is a great option. So on to our last category. Now let's say you know you're going to get a bike and you know you're going to pair it with a Peloton Digital App and you have the money to get the IC4. Do I recommend you get it or do I recommend you save your money and get the Sunny? So if you've ever done workouts on the TV and there's a person up there kind of telling you what to do, It's motivational and they're giving you instructions. You kind of have something to follow along with, but it's not necessarily engaging. And that's where Peloton is different. There's so many things they do between all the different instructors, ride types, whether it's Tabata or just different types of things that they can do to change the ride type and the type of workout you're going to get and the motivation to keep coming back. Having some of those metrics are really important. And for that reason, I'm going to tell you to get the IC4. The thing is just more built to complement the Peloton experience. It has the Cadence Sensor built in. It has the resistance display, which you're not going to be able to get in the Sunny. It has the heart rate monitor included if that works for you and you don't want to upgrade. It has everything you need. But on top of that, some things that I haven't mentioned. I like the resistance knob just a little bit better. I feel like on the Sunny model that when you have to make an adjustment, you have to do too many turns. And while that might sound nitpicky, if you've never done a Peloton ride, they have you change that quite a bit. And when you do that, if they're only going to be doing, say, a 20-minute power zone where you have to stand up and you have to make it harder to ride, you don't want to spend 5 seconds turning a knob. Now, I'm exaggerating, but you want to get to the resistance you need it at quickly. And the IC4, you can just turn it less, get it where you need it, get down to that ride segment, and then when they have you change it back, you can do that quickly as well. So I like that on the IC4 end. But in addition to that, sometimes rides include weightlifting with your arms. And that doesn't have anywhere to put weights. So you need to have a shelf nearby, which if you do, that works great. But the IC4 has those weights right in front of you. So you can grab them, do your workout, and put them back, and never get out of that experience of the ride that you're trying to do, reaching and putting some way, maybe getting off the bike or having to do anything like that. You stay engaged, which is important when you're working out. It also has the dual water bottle holders, which are nice. I think they're in a better position than the Sunny. So very minor thing, but I do like that a little bit better. And just all in all, when you add all the features up, the few things I just mentioned, the IC4 out of the gate with one purchase is just so much more set up for the Peloton Digital App that I'm going to pick that if you have the money to spend. But if you don't, the Sunny is still a fantastic option. I keep re-saying that because if you're on the fence and you don't have the money, I don't want you to not get healthy. If you have health goals, you can achieve them with either one of these bikes. So I want you to stay motivated and do what is right for you. But as far as which bike to pick, I hope that's helped you out. And hopefully this overall comparison has been helpful for you. And if it has, help me out by tossing me a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. It helps out the channel. And I thank you very much. But until next time, here's to a healthier you, and have a good one.